Hello, everyone. I am Sierra Rember. I am Space's Artist Initiatives Coordinator, and I am first contact for our regranting programs, the Urgent Art Fund, along with the Satellite Fund and the Artist Forward Fund. Um, Welcome. We're going to talk about the different layers of the Urgent Art Fund, how to apply, best practices. I also have my coworker, Anaje Beasley, who will also be helping us with any questions you may have during the presentation. If you want to drop it in the Q&A or the chat, he'll be helping me out as we go through the presentation. Okay, so again, welcome to the Urgent Art Fund Info Session. This is a $4,000 opportunity for 12 Cuyahoga County artists or collectives, 4 to be awarded each cycle. Support may go toward production expenses and artist commissions for the creation of urgent art that is socially, politically, or culturally responsive. We are designating funds specifically for such projects taking place in the public realm, engaging community and dialogue about the most pressing issues. This grant is for established, new, and emerging visual artists, creatives, and any Cuyahoga County resident with a strong vision and demonstrated ability to complete the proposed project. Land acknowledgement. Spaces recognizes the land upon which our building resides as the ancestral homeland of the Haudenosaunee and other Great Lakes tribes. We further acknowledge the thousands of indigenous people who now call this region home as a result of forced migration, dispossession of ancestral homelands and territories, or other reasons. We affirm their right as past, present, and future caretakers of this land. We make this statement recognizing that intentionally or not, we have participated in ongoing settler colonialism, a term that is generally recognized to mean the removal, erasure, and supplantation of indigenous peoples. We commit to beginning the process of working to dismantle the ongoing legacies of settler colonialism. In order to be eligible for the Urgent Art Fund, you must be at least 18 years or older. You can be at any stage of your career engaging in experimental practices with strong conceptual foundations. You're an artist, curator, or any other kind of cultural producer living, working in Cuyahoga County. You have a project based in the visual arts. You're not eligible if you are an artist who has a confirmed exhibition schedule at Spaces in the future. You're a Spaces staff and or relative, Spaces board member and or relative. You're currently a Spaces contractor or relative. You're enrolled in an undergraduate or graduate degree program during your program year. You're a recipient of the Urgent Art Fund last year, or you're a recipient of the Satellite Fund 2022. The Urgent Art Grant Award is $4,000. With the reward, you'll also receive an artist level membership. This would be at the Spaces Arts Pass level, which is a cross-organization artist level membership with Zygote Press and Praxis Fiber Workshop. You'll have access to Spaces workshops and tools, introductions to artists, curators, collectors, and community members. And then the Artist Initiatives Coordinator, which is me, assists with securing public space, advising resources, needs, assistance and recommendations, community and organization connections, as you may need before and during your process during the Urgent Art Fund. So the Urgent Art Fund website is www.theurgentartfund.org. That is where you're gonna find the most information about the Urgent Art Fund that you may need to refer to, even as you're filling out your application, or if you want to get to know more about the projects that have happened in past years. You'll see at the top right screen, that is your navigation for the site. Projects, that's where you'll find 2019 to 2022 recipients that we've had, the jurors that we've had jury those projects as well. Learning a little bit more about them. You'll learn about the Urgent Art Fund in itself, our partnership with Cuyahoga Arts and Culture for the Support for Artists Grant. Toolkit is where you'll find all your needs for what you need to apply. There you'll find the budget template that you'll need for submitting. You'll find a timeline template that you'll need. There's a lot of key dates that you'll also find when you're looking for a venue for your project or where to present your project. There's a list also with links that you can give a look through just to give you an idea of where you'd like your project to be, or just to get some quotes if the option is available. That apply button will take you straight to the application once it's live and open, coming up on the 23rd of this month. And then the FAQ is any questions that you might not hear or think you might have during the session. And then we'll definitely have time at the end as well if anything comes up. Important dates, just to keep note of. All applications open at the start of the day, 12 a.m. and close at the end of day for each of these dates. So cycle 1 does open January 23rd at 12 a.m. And it will continue through to March 20th of this year as well. And it will end at 11:59 p.m. And then we'll have awardees announced by April 14th. Cycle 2 opens April 3rd and it'll be open through May 8th. Awardees announced May 26th. Cycle 3 will be May 30th through June 20th. And then awardees will be announced July 7th. And then we'll be hosting an awardee party for everyone December 15th. Artists from all spaces rebranding programs will be invited to the party. It'll be a great way for you all to connect with one another and hopefully spark some further opportunities within you all. And then we'll have details and location to be announced for the awardees party. In order to apply to the Urgent Art Fund, we use Submittable. So you'll sign into an existing account if you're already familiar with Submittable, or you can create a new account. It is free. What you'll see on the right bottom is where you'll either sign up or sign in. That's how you'll know you'll be in the right place. And then you'll submit the following materials for the Urgent Art Fund. We'll need a project title, a biography, a project statement, timeline and budget, work samples, and descriptions. So the budget and timeline templates and examples will be available under the Toolkit tab on the Urgent Fund website. And you'll also see the rest of those dates too, if you need a quick glance of when to apply to the cycles. To get more detail into the timeline portion of when submitting the application, this is a screenshot of what that timeline form looks like. It is an editable version. And of course, if you have any complications with anything or filling out or just need help outside of the samples that you might see on the timeline form, feel free to reach out to me. My contact information will be dropped in the chat as well as is at the end of the presentation. So the timeline, keep application deadlines in mind, especially when applying. So let's say you're applying for a type of performance. This is kind of giving you that example of what that may look like. When you're thinking and realizing your times, you don't need specific dates, but at least have the month and the year. The year in this case will be 2023. And really keep in mind your timeline for how your project will go about even as you're going through the process. And then you want to give as much detail as you can in the description as far as the specifics of what you plan to have accomplished in that timeline. And then deliverables, if you have any, those deliverables will be anything that you plan on having finished within that time frame after working on it, or anything you're imagining for the next step. To give a glimpse of the budget, this is also a template and samples that you'll find through the toolkit section of the Urgent Art Fund. Budget, this is a screenshot of what that looks like as well. This is the standard version of a screenshot for the budget template. There may be cases where your total project expenses can exceed the 4,000 if you've acquired additional funding that you'd like to put into the Urgent Art Fund. So if you apply to a different grant and they allow you to use that money towards the Urgent Art Fund, that's definitely an option that you have. But as far as just having the 4,000 from the Urgent Art Fund and what that will look like breaking down, this is just an example of if someone were to do an exhibition and they're an acrylic painter, for example. So you want to make sure you have, no matter what medium it is, an artist commission in your budget item detail. Make sure that you are paying yourself. You want to look into documentation. You want to think about even far beyond past the project if you're awarded. If you wanted to apply to opportunities down the line, make sure you have that documentation of your work and what you accomplished throughout this grant. Materials, you want to think and break down your project down step by step in order to understand what you may need to carry out your project. So just think about when you're creating whatever that your visual practice is, that you're accounting for everything that you may need as far as those materials. Venue rental, because your project does have to be in a public realm, some type of public space. You want to consider whether you're doing a screening, a reception, a venue of any kind that you're thinking about how much that may total. So quotes could help, but you don't have to have a designated venue at the time of applying. So you can have an idea of a space that you want, maybe like a white cube or anything, but it's definitely a good idea if able to just see like what that may cost you, just as far as like budget and getting your project together. Transportation of work. Let's say you have to transport these items from your studio to the venue. That is something that you can use for grant funding. And then marketing, whether you're buying any type of advertisements on social media or putting it in different newsletters, any outlets, if you want any postcards or marketing materials, that's something to consider as well, as far as what you need as far as to get your project together. Public venue. What is a visual project? So public presentation access to some examples would be painting, design, photography, film, video, sculpture, print, new media performance, things like that. Projects must be displayed in Cuyahoga County, but cannot be displayed at spaces. So we're more so your headquarters of resources for anything that you may need as far as me as your artist initiatives coordinator, any ideas or anything, but the project itself cannot happen at spaces. But I'll definitely be there to help you figure out a space during the process that's within Cuyahoga County. And then examples of a public visual presentation may be an exhibition or a reception, film screening, public sculpture workshops, community engagement project, anything as far as that, or anything that you may think of as far as your creative practice. So we will have 3 jurors on our panel. They will be announced soon within the next couple of weeks. But this is the firsthand look of how they'll be rating each project as they come in for each cycle. So feasibility is one of the main headers. Well thought out project encompasses the scope of the project proposed, work samples and sketches, support the ability for the project to be successful in artist past experience, reinforce their ability to follow through with the project. Relevancy is also a big header that they'll be looking at. Does the project show importance and timeliness to the community of Northeast Ohio, to the broader community? Will it foster an exchange of ideas and perspectives within the audience? And is it aligned with the purpose of the Urgent Art Fund? Quality. Is the conceptual relevance supported by a robust artistic project? Does it seem likely that the intended proposal will function in the manner described? Is the project backed by artistic rigor and ability? Accessibility. The project is open to the public, including display of the project in conventional art viewing spaces like artist studios, homes, as long as there is an open hours posted, sites for public works, businesses like cafes or restaurants, and commercial or nonprofit galleries. Unconventional sites may include abandoned storefronts, city infrastructure like bus shelters, streets, open spaces, signage like billboards, building or construction fences with permissions granted. Proposed sites must be accessible to all members of the public, including ADA accessibility. Also for accessibility, just take note with us kind of getting into this after pandemic state, some venues may have a certain capacity that they allow. So you might want to think about if you have to have some type of RSVP process that's still public that people need to access, or just making sure that you ask these questions if you choose to reach out to different venues, just to give you an idea of where this project will go. Jurors will review and provide feedback on submissions based upon this criteria. And then everyone will also receive feedback. So let's say that you apply to cycle 1. If you have to apply again because it didn't go through the first cycle 1, then at that step, I will be giving you the feedback that jurors gave, and you can choose whether you want to reapply to cycle 2 with that information. But it will be available for all cycles. FAQ. Some questions that are frequently asked, just that we can get like a firsthand before we go into any questions that you all might have. Do you have to have a confirmed public venue or presentation? As far as applying to the Urgent Art Fund, you do not have to have a confirmed location. That is definitely something that I will help you with if awarded, or if you even need an idea before you apply. I'm definitely available to help you think of spaces in that way. How is grant funding dispersed? So we do not disperse the full 4,000, but we do give you the bulk or half of it, and then we just hold on to the artist commission of it, which is 20% of the artist grant, which would be the 800. So you would get payment in 2 checks from us. So after everything is through, as far as like artist agreements, when you're past the cycle of application and you're awarded, you'll be given the bulk or half in the first payment, and then the second payment will be when your project is closing out. How much funds can I designate towards artist commission? That would be that 20%. So say that you only have funding from Urgent Art from Spaces and CAC, which is that 4,000, and it has to be that 20%. So 20% in that instance would be the 800. If you acquire additional funding, that's when it can go higher, because it's 20% of your overall grant money that you have going towards the Urgent Art Fund. Can I use funding towards reception needs such as food and drink? Funding cannot be used towards reception items such as food and drink. That is an out-of-pocket expense for artists, collectives. If you choose to have a reception and you want to serve different food, drinks, no matter what it is, things like that do have to be an out-of-pocket cost. Can I acquire additional funding? Yes, you can, and it definitely can be discussed amongst us. As far as acquiring additional funding, you just have to make sure that whatever source that is, the funding can go towards the Urgent Art Fund project, and it can't be vice versa. So you can't use the Urgent Art Fund funding to go towards another project or organization that you have right now. Everything has to make sure it's under like the Urgent Art Fund umbrella. And then if you have any questions as far as the conclusion of this presentation, or just in general, if you'd like to schedule a one-on-one, maybe bounce ideas off of what you had in mind for the project, I am available by phone, extension 204. I am in office Monday through Fridays, 12 to 5. And then I'm always open email, sierra@spacesclean.org. And then make sure you check out the site just so you can get more of an in tune of what it looks like. Maybe check out the other projects that we've had, maybe previous jurors, and just give you an oversight of the Urgent Art Fund. And that concludes our presentation. If anyone has any questions, we can take those now. If not, again, we can drop the contact information on how to reach me. If you'd like to schedule a one-on-one or anything, you can reach out by phone, email, and I'll be available. But thank you all.
Hello, I dropped a question in the Q&A. I was wondering about the validity of like residents of Cuyahoga County in consideration.
You mean as far as, well, I'm not seeing in the Q&A. Hold on a second. Okay. So no, not all of them have to be present in Cuyahoga County. You can definitely contract them outside of. It's just the lead has to be from Cuyahoga County. So say, you're from Cuyahoga County, you can be the lead artist of your collective, but all of the funding, when we write out the checks and everything, it has to go to you, and then you're gonna have to disperse it to who you need to in your collective if they're outside of Cuyahoga County. Did that answer the majority of the question?
Yeah, that was exactly what I needed to hear. Thank you.